Guys, this week the world's leaders and richest people have gathered in Davos for the World Economic Forum. This event is considered the most important gathering of the elite and sets the trends for the next few years. Why does the World Economic Forum have such power, and what can we expect after this year's meeting? And many other questions will be answered today. You don't want to miss this video. Subscribe to the channel and let's get into it. First of all, I would like to explain a little bit about what WEF is and why it is such an important event for the crypto world. What is WEF? A meeting of the same Freemasons? Or a regular political meeting that often leads to nothing? In fact, neither option is even close to the truth. The World Economic Forum is the international organization for public-private cooperation. The forum engages the world's political, business, cultural, and other leaders to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. If you dig deeper, you will find that the issues they address are really important. By the way, this forum has been held for 53 consecutive years, and every year the most influential people in the world gather in Davos: politicians, businessmen, and scientists. They discuss global economic, social, and geopolitical issues. In fact, it is they who determine the direction of the world's development for the next year. Despite the fact that this forum is 53 years old, it is not financed by any country. At the same time, it receives 100% of its contributions from the participants themselves, which allows it to develop and become a bigger and more interesting forum every year. What unique things did we learn after this year's forum, and what should crypto investors prepare for? This year, I have seen many interesting statements, including those about cryptocurrencies. But first of all, I would like to explain that not a single speaker takes the podium to tell us what to expect next, how this year will go, and so on. Almost all of them are pushing their own interests, the interests of their companies or their countries in one way or another. So in order to understand the real meaning of a particular speech, we have to really read between the lines. And this can clearly be seen in recent years. For example, in 2023, the hot topics of the conference were inclusive capitalism and social entrepreneurship. However, although these were the declared topics of the conference, almost all experts agreed that in fact most speakers were much more interested in the issue of CBDC and more active control of cryptocurrencies. And there was also active communication about the metaverse and how it can affect the global economy. So this highlights perfectly that the topics that are mentioned do not always coincide with the narratives that these groups of influencers really want to talk about. In addition, we can see that the CBDC sphere has begun to develop and gain momentum in a way that was definitely not there before 2023. From this map, we can see that almost all civilized countries are dealing with the issue of CBDC, and this could be a good thing, but it is actually a tool that will help us control. Instead of general acceptance of cryptocurrencies, we may see general control. Of course, we will be able to see how this will develop in the future, as the US presidential election will be held very soon. One of the main contenders for this position, Donald Trump, makes it very clear that he has a negative attitude toward this technology, and if he wins the election, will definitely not allow CBDC to exist in America. I suggest you listen to him for yourself.
I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency where they can rob your money. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech, which we don't have now.
Getting back to the WEF, according to CNBC sources, Donald Trump's election victory does not suit most of the forum's participants. And this is understandable, as Trump pursues a rather uncomfortable policy, and he does not always support the general agenda, such as the CBDC. Moreover, he has quite open views on cryptocurrencies and actively supports them, instead of taking a position of general control over digital assets. By the way, this is what his wallet looks like. If I were him, I would support cryptocurrencies. But let's get back to this year's WEF and the theses that were raised there. Artificial intelligence, the war with the threat of turning into World War III, and the disappearance of capitalism as we know it. I'd like to start with the information about AI because it's no secret that these technologies are the future, and this is a separate narrative in crypto that has changed it in one way or another. Many people say that not an hour went by at this WEF without talking about AI. Of course, the main speaker in this area was Sam Altman, CEO of ChatGPT. I would like to highlight the following points from him. I think it's good that we and others are being held to a high standard. We can draw lessons from the past about how technology has been made safe and how different stakeholders have handled negotiations about what safe means. We have our own nervousness, but we believe we can get through it. And the only way to do that is to put the technology in people's hands. In general, the sentiments about AI at this conference were as mixed as they could be. But one thing was 100% clear. Everyone sees the potential of AI technologies. It was particularly amusing to hear the thoughts of Li Zhang, a Chinese statesman and politician who has been ambivalent about this technology.
People are still taking time to get used to it. Like other technologies, artificial is also a double-edged sword.
Well, that's just ridiculous, considering that China has its own ChatGPT that has unrealistic censorship, where you cannot ask questions about the party or other controversial topics. So much for the double-edged sword. But this is not very important for us. It just shows once again that the big players always promote their interests, disguising them as the common good. The only thing that is clear to me is that AI is here to stay. It is still unclear what global impact it will have on everyone, but the overall picture is quite positive, so we will definitely see the AI trend in crypto in the near future. Coming back to other issues that were raised at the forum, we can understand that the issue of war in the world is quite acute, and the leaders of countries and global corporations will do everything possible to prevent the world from coming to the Third World War. In addition, the issue of socialism and how it affects people was raised, and the current president of Argentina made a very interesting statement on this subject. It is in danger because those who are supposed to defend the values of the Western world are being co-opted by a worldview that inevitably leads to socialism and consequently to poverty and economic deprivation. Millet said, "When we embraced collectivism in the last 100 years, we saw how our citizens began to systematically impoverish themselves until they fell to 140th place in the world." Quite an interesting opinion coming from a politician who is not afraid to say what he thinks and ask uncomfortable questions to those who always try to avoid confrontation. By the way, the president of Argentina openly supports cryptocurrencies and is considered one of the most famous Bitcoin maxis. So let's move on to crypto projects and famous personalities who participated in the WEF. Before that, subscribe to the channel and like the video so you don't miss the latest news and analysis on the cryptocurrency market. We can say that the crypto sector is finally reckoned with and accepted in these high circles, because after the big downturn in 2022 and the scam of Bankman-Fried, many people began to view cryptocurrencies with skepticism. And this year's WEF shows that everything has changed. We all feel that the products and services we are providing are now firmly woven into the fabric of financial services. Grayscale Investment CEO Michael Sonnenschein said of the major crypto firms present in Davos. Coinbase Chief Policy Officer Faryar Shirzad said Monday that the crypto exchange has meetings scheduled with 3 prime ministers and 10 to 15 ministers. The governments we're interested in talking to, the level of interest on their side is usually quite high. He said, "It's not like Elizabeth Warren's attack on us defines how we engage with most governments." The WEF, by the way, has not forgotten that it promoted the idea of the metaverse. And at this forum, they demonstrated a working prototype of their own metaverse, the Global Collaboration Village. Such news can only cheer us up. After all, as I said, the WEF is actually a union of big players who have the power to change the game and rule the world. And they have come to crypto for metaverse. At the same time, they can use any tool with their resources, but they still choose crypto. Isn't that an indicator for us and the future of crypto? To sum it up, it is clear that WEF participants are becoming more open to cryptocurrencies. So we will see big changes in the market. It will definitely get bigger, and the AI sector will change with great force. So it's likely that this narrative in the crypto space will take an even bigger share of the overall market. And that's it. I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. Your Coin Post.